Acts 3, verse 1. One day, Peter and John were going up to the temple at the time of prayer. It was about 3 p.m. Now a man who was lame from birth was being carried to the temple gate called Beautiful. This is where he was put every day to beg from those going into the temple courts. When he saw Peter and John about to enter, he asked them for money. All right, so we get the scene gets set here. You got two main guys, Peter and John. These are the current de facto leaders of the church. There was no vote, like Jesus is gone. There was not like a vote and it says, okay, we're voting in Peter and John. It was just understood that these were gonna be the primary leaders without Jesus. Peter was told by Jesus on this rock being Peter, I will build my church. John was Jesus' best friend, and it's just kind of understood, okay, with Jesus gone, these are the guys. These are the guys we're following. So Luke decides us to tell a story about the brand new leaders of this movement, all right? And it says they come to the temple, they're going to pray, and they come across this man. The Bible says he's a lame man. That just means he doesn't have use of his legs, and he's been like this since he was born. We know from the next chapter that this man was over 40 years old. And so with all that, we know that for 40 years, this man has been carried by friends, by family, by people that cared about him, and placed right here outside this gate called Beautiful. This gate was 75 feet tall. It would have taken 20 men to open this gate, 20 men to close it. It was made of bronze, it was extremely ornate, and it was said to be more beautiful than silver or gold. This gate represented the power of what it was protecting. The gate represented what was behind it, and if you went past the gate, you would be in an inner courtyard, and the inner courtyard would surround a room, and in that room would have been another room, and that was called the Holy of Holies. It was said to be believed that God's presence lived and dwelled there. Now we know because of what Jesus came and did that God's presence is everywhere, but it was still a spectacular place that they would come to really celebrate their God. And at this point, the people that were coming to the temple didn't quite get what was accomplished by Jesus just a few weeks ago. So they're on their way to this temple, and here's this man sitting outside the gate called Beautiful. And I'm looking at this story and I'm thinking, okay, here's this guy, and he's just spending 40 years of his life waiting for something to happen, waiting for something to occur in his life. Now, he could have went and been placed anywhere to ask for money, but he ends up at the temple asking for money. He ends up at the temple asking for resource. And I don't think that's an accident. See, I believe that this man was there for other reasons. I believe this man wasn't only there to have his practical needs met. I believe he was also there believing and hoping for a miracle. And this man, he's showing up here, he would have been alive during the time of Jesus. Jesus would have come to this temple. He would have seen Jesus. He would have probably seen Jesus do miracles. He would have heard of the things that Jesus was accomplishing. And so I have to believe that this man is here hoping that maybe he would have been one of the guys that Jesus would have said something to, that he would have been a guy that Jesus would have healed. And now without Jesus, I still have to believe he's going there full of hope, full of expectation. I don't know to what degree he has hope and expectation, but I believe there's a reason he chose to go sit outside the temple. And I have to wonder, I'm not sure where this guy's faith would be, but I have to wonder where your faith would be in a season of waiting. I have to wonder how your faith would withstand a season of waiting. Because we hate to wait for things, right? Like we hate to wait as we have the world in our pocket and we can get anywhere we want and do anything we want. And in basically a matter of seconds, if we open an app and an app doesn't open fast enough, we'll leave that app and go to a new app. Like TikTok doesn't open, boom, Instagram. Instagram doesn't open, back to Twitter. Like there's a process to these things. And we know that if it doesn't work, then if all those things don't work, then we're turning off Wi-Fi. It must be my Wi-Fi. I gotta check 5G. I gotta make sure 5G is open because I need to get on TikTok because I need to know how to make a pancake with my shoe and a lighter, okay? And someone's gonna teach me that in 30 seconds and then I'm gonna do it and it's gonna be amazing, okay? I gotta know that, I gotta know it now. That's TikTok. I basically just summarized TikTok in 5 seconds for everybody. Don't make a pancake with your shoe. Okay, so we hate to wait for things. But if you've ever had to wait for anything of any significance, you know that seasons of waiting are extraordinarily hard. You know that seasons of waiting are times that, man, can really cause your faith to wane. I think it's easy for dreams to die in seasons of waiting. I think it's easy for hope to die in seasons of waiting. I think it's easy for expectation, for excitement, for enthusiasm, passion, all of these things to die in seasons of waiting. And actually, I think our faith is at risk of dying in seasons of waiting. I've heard Pastor Jason say that the battle is always for our faith. I love that statement. The battle is always for our faith. And so I think there's a question for us, will we go to battle for our faith today? Because I think the key to learning how to wait well is knowing how to go to battle for your faith. If I was this guy, I'm not sure I could have lasted 40 years, if I'm being real with you. Like if Jesus came to us and said, you're gonna have to wait 40 years for something, I don't know if I would make it. But I think there's something beautiful about that too, because I don't believe God ever designed us to know ahead of time that we're gonna have to wait 40 years. See, there's a reason that God doesn't tell us to plan ahead of time. If Jesus told us to plan for our lives ahead of time, we'd mess it up because we try to speed it up or do something in the wrong season when we're meant to be waiting and be preparing, and he's meant to be doing something in us so that we'll be ready for the right season. And so he doesn't tell us ahead of time you're gonna have to wait 40 years. He just needs us to be able to wait today.